Hey, Penelope. Hello, Hamera,
Oh,
Kathleen, Nancy Gale.
Hi, ladies.
hi everyone. You're looking good out there, Carol, in the sunshine.
No, it's beautiful. It's a little chilly because I'm in the shade under an umbrella. It's about, I don't know, maybe 63 or 4 in this. So it's chillier in the shade, but that's okay. I'm very happy to be here.
Yay.
Very, very, very happy.
Are you still at the Shaw House then, Carol?
I'm in the backyard. I'm at a big
Okay.
table. This table seats 8 people, but you can't see it. Well, if I can move this thing. There's the umbrella. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's about a 9 or 10-foot umbrella. And this table is, I'm trying to, I can't. It's a
No
beautiful,
worries.
it's a beautiful big teak table with 8 chairs around it. And I'm on a beautiful patio. The people that owned the house before us put a lot of work into it and a lot of money. And so we reap the benefits.
Yay.
Yeah, it's been such a gift. Such a gift. There's,
So what part of the country are you in?
well, I'm in, well, now I'm at the shore of New Jersey, but we live in northwestern New Jersey,
Ah, I see.
about a half hour away from Pennsylvania. But now I'm 2.5 hours south, I would say, and east at the shore. And it's a barrier island that runs along the coast called Long Beach Island. And it's just a lovely 18-mile long barrier island. It's about, it depends on where you are on the island. Our part of the island is about 4 blocks wide from the ocean to the bay. And it's lovely. We're about 1.5 blocks from, and we have the marsh that leads to the bay right behind us. So nobody can build anything. It's all wild. So we have a lot of wildlife, birds and turtles and
Sounds lovely.
all kinds of stuff back there. It's beautiful.
It sounds really, really lovely.
It is. It was truly a gift. It was
Mm.
my first attempt at a vision board. And I put, just for the heck of it, I put a summer house, a house at the shore at the bottom of my vision board. And my daughter had done the same thing, but we did not know that either of us had done that. And don't you know, at the end of that year, that was, I was on retreat from 2017 till 2018 with Jennifer. It was the New Year's retreat. She did one in, oh my God, where was it? I forget where it was, upstate New York or something like that. And anyway, there I am putting this, I'm figuring what the heck, it can't hurt. I put this desire for this house on my vision board the first time I did one. And it came true at the end of that year. My husband bought the house and I had no idea that he was
Oh my
doing.
God, I can't believe those things work. I always, whenever I think about it, I think, oh, it can't happen. How is that going to happen? So I never really do it. Wow.
Yeah, because why? We're one. I was of one mind with my daughter. And you see how strong that is. And
Yes.
my husband's not even a big fan on his own. He wouldn't come to the shore on his own, but he knew that my daughter and me and my 2 boys loved the shore. And so he did this as a 50th anniversary gift.
How lovely. Oh my goodness.
I know. He saw it as a way to invest some money that he didn't want to have at the mercy of the stock market. And he figured, okay, buying real estate is a safe way to, spend that money and invest it. And it's been wonderful. It's just been, and God, we just put it right in God's care at the very beginning, once he told me about it. And we said, God, please direct us. You know, we want this to be a house that you are in it with us. And it's been a joy and a pleasure. It's fully furnished. The people left every stick of furniture and they bought beautiful, beautiful furniture for this house. But to them,
Carol,
it
talk
was
about
too
ease
much.
and grace. Talk
I
about ease and grace,
know.
right?
You're absolutely right. It's just because God knew we didn't have the extra, what, 20 or $30,000 to invest in. We have 4 bedrooms, a big living room, a large kitchen. I mean, to furnish that rightly would cost a decent amount of money. And we had enough to buy the house, but I don't know if we could have scared up another 20 or 30,000 to put into the house itself. And so God just blessed us completely, knowing what we needed and what situation we had. So yes, it's a gift. It's such a
Lovely.
gift.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies. So I am hosting on for Linda today, and that is just a beautiful inspirational story, Carol. So thank you for sharing that. You're the second person I've heard recently that has created a vision board and the success they've had. So we can all be inspired by that. So we're already just slightly past the hour. So I'm going to start us off with a prayer, and then we can get going on this part of the text. So inviting you, can I just ask everybody who's unmuted just to mute as well, please? Just so we just reduced any background noise for the prayer. Thank you so much. And so inviting you to place your hands on your heart and taking that beautiful deep breath of love and gratitude. Grateful and thankful to settle into our sacred heart. Grateful and thankful to be the 2 or more joined together in the name and the nature of love. Grateful and thankful to be here today with everyone and to have this opportunity to do this on behalf of Linda, so that Linda can enjoy a beautiful day out with her husband. And also, as we join together, we come together to celebrate Linda's coming up to her 3rd anniversary since this group first started. So just joining and celebrating together all the successes and healing and the expansion of our minds and our hearts in this 3-year time frame. The enormous amount of healing that has taken place for people joining this group or listening later. And so we bless each and every one of us on the call today. We bless anyone that will listen later. And we allow ourselves now to fully open our hearts and our minds so that we may receive the maximum healing benefits possible from this beautiful divine conversation and this studying of this text, this part of the text. And we're grateful and thankful to let go of any barriers, any blocks, anything that might hold us back from sharing, anything that we may feel that is not worth mentioning or not worth bringing to this discussion. So we're just letting all blocks now fall away, all resistance, all reluctance. And we're just allowing that to fall away now and allowing it to be resolved and dissolved in the light of truth and awareness. And we allow ourselves now to feel the presence of spirit, fully aligned with our Creator, knowing that we are all being cared for, held, led and guided by the invisible, knowing that we can just ask the angels for assistance at any moment. So I'm calling the angels forth now to surround each and every one of us. And so during this call, we may actually feel the presence of the angels. And we are grateful and thankful to share the benefits of this healing work that we are all doing together, with everyone knowing that as we are healed, we are all healed together. And in grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you. So today we are continuing in chapter 23, the second section, the laws of chaos. So I'll just start us off. And what I would like to add, first of all, to the title, the laws of chaos, I'd actually like to add to that, the laws of chaos and confusion. Because I know for me that when I get caught up in these egoic laws, not only is there chaos in my mind, there is also confusion as well. So I'd like to just add that part. So just starting us off then. So the first line, the first paragraph, the laws of chaos can be brought to light, though never understood. And then just moving on to line 3, yet they appear to be an obstacle to reason and to truth. Let us then look upon them calmly, that we may look beyond them, understanding what they are and not what they would maintain. It is essential it be understood what they are, because it is their purpose to make meaningless and to attack the truth. I've really enjoyed reading this section because it's really laid out, and obviously we're only reading up to, as Linda, in case anybody's forgotten, we're reading up just to paragraph 11, so we're not quite at the end of the laws. I think there's another one after these first 4, but what it's really kind of helping me to see and kind of laying it out for me in a way that feels quite simple, is that the blocks that we create are all about either the sin, the guilt, the specialness, or the fear, and it really kind of hones in on that for me. And another bit that I will mention, so just moving on then to, this is the third paragraph, so it's the first line. Think how this seems to interfere with the first principle of miracles. I actually looked up and actually wanted to read the first principle of miracles. And so just in case anybody's not read this part, there is no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than the other. They are all the same. All expressions of love are maximal. And I can really see how it's by the constant judging that keeps this law in place, keeps me caught up in believing that some things are more difficult than others. And one of the ways, just to give you an example, it shows up for me is if for instance, I'm in a group like this, or in some of the groups in Masterful Living, and say, for instance, somebody was sharing, say, they'd experienced, say, a bereavement, or they were struggling with some really challenging health issues. That sometimes stops me sharing, because then I think that their challenges are kind of like have to take precedence over, say, something that I perceive or judge as not being as important. And so that's one of the ways that this law can show up for me. So just starting us off there. So whenever you're ready, if anyone would like to add anything, or if there's another section or whatever you'd like to share.
Penelope, it's Homera. Sorry, I'm not on camera because I'm in the tub, but I wanted to, I'm really achy today, so I needed to take an Epsom salt bath. But I mean, this resonates, right? The first law that is that, everybody thinks that their truth is the truth. There's not one truth. Everybody's, oh, this is my truth, right? So this makes sense. The second law, which is that sin must be real and needs attack, right? That we're sinners, basically. And even if we don't let me speak for myself. If I don't say that outwardly, there's like this the feelings of guilt are evidence that I believe that. They're the feelings that I need punishment or somebody else needs to be punished is the belief is evidence enough that I believe that somewhere in my mind. And then the
Yeah.
third law, which says that it's like we are telling God what he should think. Like if he disagrees with this concept, that we say, well, God can't be wrong. So I believe this, so it must be right. So we're telling God what he or she can think, or it can think. And that one, okay, I'm not sure about that one. Maybe somebody can expand on that one. And then all this goes to, if this, all of this is not true, this world is an illusion. We made this world. God did not make this world. How can God, which is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, not know it? Like God does not, I've read God does not know about this world. And then I remember Bill Free, who is also a Course in Miracles teacher with Lisa Natoli. We're talking to Rupert Spira, who is a non-dualistic teacher, and I love his teachings, go right along with the Course, a lot of it. But when Bill asked, there was a mad idea, God doesn't know about this world. And so Rupert said to Bill, do you think God is mad? So somehow they brought the two concepts together, but I don't know how, that somehow God still does know about this world. And, in Hinduism and a lot of other religions, they talk about how this is Maya, it's a play of God. So I guess I'm confused about how this separation, which feels so real, ever happened, and how God has no idea about it, which is kind of like connected to these laws of chaos. So if anybody wants to expand on that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Humera. That's a great question. So I can see Carla's putting her hand up. So I'm thinking Carla's got the answer here. Go for it, Carla.
Okay. So it's not, this world is not real, but it's the illusion, the useless meanings that we give things. That's what's not real, because only love is real. And if we give something a meaning that is not love, that's not real. So God is love. God, I don't know, only sees love, but what I think what he does see is we are the children of God. We are learning how to be, we're like godless. We're learning how to be God. So we're remembering. So it's like a child, when you're teaching a child something and it gets all upset or gets anxious or whatever, you don't judge the child. You don't tell it not even to do that. You say, you try to gently guide it back to love. That's what's happening. God is just gently, in ways we don't even see. The miracles happen all the time. We don't see them often because they're not part of our the meaning that we give everything, right? Their miracles are true. They're examples of love, right? And we've been taught by the ego thought system. That's how we've been taught. And our parents, our siblings, because they've all been taught that, right? So now learn again, my child. Look again, choose again, that God doesn't see the illusion because it's nothing. It's not real. And I will tell you this, Mara, that at one point I asked myself, why does this feel so real? Why is it? And this is what I was told. Because you are real. Not the body, but the essence of life that we are, the I am, and that, and what, because we're godlets, whatever, we're given meaning, we're extending the truth that we believe. Remember, our truth is different than other people's truths. We're extending that truth. It's like God is extending the truth of God to us because we are one with God. And so, and we give that to every meaning, every belief, that we believe. It's the same thing because God believes in us. And what do we believe in? That's something for each one to discover and to realize where you're placing your focus, your attention, your God essence. So does that speak enough to what you're asked to Mary?
Yes, very much so, Carla. Thank you so much for that.
So,
Thanks, Carla. Grace, did you want to?
yeah. So two things that Carla said helped me. One is that God doesn't see the illusion because it's not real. And the other thing was, yes, it seems real. We are real. Our bodies are not real, but our spirit's real. So those two things really helped me with that question, Humira. And then somebody else told me something that helped me a lot as well. And that is, it's like, your child is asleep in bed, safe at home. And your child is having a dream. Well, it's not real. You don't know about it. You're not that interested in it. Your child is safe. So we're all safe at home with God, and we're having a dream or an illusion. And well, he's he's interested, he's not interested. It's just not real. So it's not that he doesn't care or he's not interested or he didn't create it. He created us. Our spirit is real. Our body isn't real. And our dreams are not real. Does that help at all? That sort of helped me understand it.
Yes, Grace, that's really good. Thank you so much. In fact, that gentleman, Rupert Spira, and he has a book, and in that he talks about, like you, Grace, having like taking on a character, like in a play, and falling asleep, and then in that play, all of a sudden losing like your memory and believing you are that character. And so he kind of aligns up with that, and which is what I'm kind of resonating with as you talked about the dream and sleeping in a bed and having a dream, sort of connecting it with his book. Thank you so much. That really helps.
Thank you, Humira, and thank you, Grace. Carla?
So one time I had a dream that I killed my parents. I killed my family because I realized it's really a symbol. I was going to be stationed overseas and really lose connection, except maybe on a phone, but mostly connection with them, right? And so my dream was symbolic. It was about that, cutting off the connection with them. I don't really, it's not true, it can't happen, but I didn't know about A Course in Miracles then or anything. But so I had a dream that I killed my family. And then I woke up and then I judged myself for having that dream. Then I realized it's just a dream. I mean, that's like if you write a story of illusion, do you judge yourself for writing the story? I mean, that's what we're doing. And if we're all asleep and we're all doing this, we're all creating this dream, and then we're judging ourselves for our creation. Or it's, I don't know if it's creation, but for the dream. So, and I realized at that moment that how I was guilty feeling for something that had never happened. That was a dream, right? And that's a lot of what's going on. We think, and then the judgments or whatever, I think some less in love comes into our mind, but it's not real, because only love is real. And so we make it real by judging ourselves as having those thoughts. Then it seems real, but it's never been real to God, because he recognizes, no, he there, but God recognizes that it can't be true. So there, thanks.
Thanks, Carla. And the other thing that also that I find so helpful to remind myself is that, you know, I chose this curriculum when I came in. And so sometimes when I think of it like that, it seems like kind of crazy then that I'm actually judging what I'm actually creating, when in actual fact, it does seem so totally insane, when in actual fact, I chose this curriculum to come in to assist me because it was the perfect curriculum this lifetime to heal what I chose to heal. And yet I'm then still judging what I'm creating. So that in itself for me then creates that sense of chaos and confusion, because I'm actually judging the very thing that, you know, is here to assist me. So the whole thing then just gets totally insane. So yeah, Carol, did you want to say something? Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I did. It's to me, paragraph 9 is very clear, and it's very familiar because it's so the way this world operates. And in changing our thinking to the truth that we are one truly helps. So I'll read the first couple of sentences. The ego values only what it takes. This leads to the 4th law of chaos, which, if the others are accepted, must be true, because it just builds on the other 3. This seeming law is the belief that you have what you have taken. By this, another's loss becomes your gain, and thus it fails to recognize that you take away from yourself. So, but isn't that the way the world operates? Oh, good, that person doesn't have as much as I do, so that must make me better, or I must be smarter, or I must be whatever, because there's the separation. And I know that I've lived that way for a long time before. Just that comparison, constantly comparing. And even now, it creeps in very, very easily into my mind, that type of thinking, when it is not true, because there is no other. There is no other person. There is no other mind. There is no other way of doing life. It's together as one, completely connected. And so that just hit home for me, because that was very familiar for a very long time. That whole idea, not that I ran around taking things that weren't mine, or feeling that, but I know that sense. I know and have been familiar with that otherness and that comparison toward other people, whatever it be, in whatever area. It was me versus them. Oh, that must make me, oh, I never did that, so aren't I better? No. It's, but I'm just pointing it out that it was a very familiar sense of living that way for a long time. And it truly isn't true. It truly can't be true. There are no enemies. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. Yeah, I can relate to that, and it's, you know, It's like how much the ego thought system is based on this better than and less than.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely huge. So yeah, I can relate to that. Thank you. Anyone else like to share? Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm in a small group that I really, really enjoy. And, one of the things the miracle says that when you're in a group, you'll actually learn as much or more from the people that you're in the group with than you will from the miracles course. It's one of the things they say. And I was just pausing on the last chaos rule that we just went over. If I think one of the ways to say it, if I gain, I gain, and it means somebody else lost. It's sort of the thought of +1 for me, -1 for you in how the world's working. And I wanted to talk about how people have been talking about how we're one, right? And sometimes in a group, people have different, what do you call, opinions, or very strong ones. My group happens to have very strong people. We're only about four people, and so they have strong opinions, out in the world, things I don't care about, things I do care about. You know what I mean? Just all this stuff, and it kind of I was looking at this thing about being loving, and not creating the comparison ego, almost like a tonal quality that can come in when people are being very, very strong about different things. What do I choose to do that would even it out, so that I become a conduit for love in my presence, without judging, well, gee, they're not being loving, or whatever that would be, you know what I mean? But just not, quote, joining in and one more opinion, one more thing, just like, sometimes when you're just free talking, it seems to build this separation and difference. So I hope I've been clear about the thing I just tried to say, because I would love to hear people's input about, well, what I came up with is a little less talking and more listening. And I think I almost received that possibly when I was conjuring, what about this? That, well, what would be loving is that you would listen, and the person talking would feel a part of and not separate from. And you don't really, what did they say? You don't have to go to every fight you're invited to, or you don't have to take the bait. Sometimes all this differences that is rolling in a group and in a dynamic, you're going to set this one out. It sounds silly, but what is the actual steps to take where you form an influence within yourself and within the setting of that situation, where there's more peace and there's more, everybody's heard, everybody's loved. It says when the Holy Spirit solves a problem, there are no losers. Everybody feels the gain. Everybody feels the goodness, So anyway, I'd like to be a part of creating that. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. And it was explained beautifully. So I'm sure we all, I can understand, if I'm sure we can all follow that. Would anybody like to respond to Kathy? Nancy Gale, go ahead.
I'm not sure I can answer it, but I would like to add the part when you started talking, when you said the listening. That is the most important part. And then I have some really good things to say that I'm experiencing, but when I was a chaplain, it's like they taught me the most important thing was to listen. And I've different one-on-ones that I've had with different people here. My comment always is, or my observation is, when I feel heard, when I'm saying, when I feel, because I have trouble clearly explaining stuff. And it's always fascinating to me that the person that's listening like that can put it all together, what I just said. And I call it listening between the words or behind the words the person is speaking. The listening is in the space, or, you know, like the space between the words, whatever. That person is listening in that space, and that can hear exactly what they need to hear. But, and it's like, if you're in an argument and everybody's talking, say you got the 4 people in your group and everybody's got a strong opinion, you know how an argument goes, and you know, nobody's going to take a turn. They're all going to talk at once. Well, when that's going on, those are all like walls. It's like, where's the listening? Nobody can hear anything because everybody's talking. And it's the listening. The most I can contribute here is it's the listening, the quiet. Just be quiet and listen and see and ask Spirit to give you, you know, whatever he can pull out of that for you. And then also, sometimes you don't need to do anything with that. Just the listening part is all that's necessary. So that's you know, all I can say right now. Just, it's like we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? You can, you know. So I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy Gale. That was so beautifully put. Robin, I saw you're unmuted. Robin, did you want to say something?
I see Leslie's raised her hand, so
Okay,
go ahead, Leslie. And
yeah,
I'll join
go ahead,
in.
Leslie.
You sure, Robin? You can go first.
All I'm going to say is just a few words, and that is Nancy Gale. I always love the idea of getting quiet, Kathy. So it seems that you're already taking that step of quietness. And then in that quietness, you can become really present. And in that present moment, hopefully we can be inspired to speak or to continue to be quiet and listen. So thanks, Leslie.
Hi, everybody. I don't have much to contribute. That was a great question, Kathy, and I too am very interested in everybody's answers. And thank you, Nancy Gale. That was nicely said. The one thing I will just add, I think it's very important to validate, because sometimes somebody can hear you, but they're not listening, if you know what I mean. I mean, sometimes just to validate their feelings, even if you don't agree with them, I think it's okay to validate them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Leslie, I was going, just let me add that one, what you just said. When I was talking to Jennifer a little while ago, and she was talking, and it's like I realized sometimes I don't look at the person when I'm listening. I'm not looking at them. They may be looking at me, and they think, oh, you know, it's like whatever they're saying is going, you know, I'm not paying attention. And I remember saying to her, Jennifer, I heard what you said. I wasn't looking, but I heard what you said. She said, thank you for telling me that. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy Gale. And Kathy, the other thing that I would just add is a couple of things that come to mind. I love how Thich Nhat Hanh, the spiritual leader, expresses it when he talks about deep, compassionate listening. And even when I say the words, deep, compassionate listening, just those words, the vibration from those words feels so powerful to me. And the other thing that I would add is I would also be extending love and blessings to the person, particularly if it's a situation where you feel like there's a lot of judging going on. I would be constantly sending love and blessings to the person. Because the thing is, while I'm extending the love and blessings, I'm then not getting into my own judgments and judging them for judging. I find that helpful. Okay, thank you. And Melita, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's beautiful about the compassionate listening. On sort of a different note, sometimes when people talk too much in a group like that, I find that it's like gets into ego territory. And you go like, oh, okay, this is too much. And so my thought is redirecting and going higher. So I mean, even in my family, when someone goes there, we breathe, quiet, redirect, and go higher. So that's my tool that I use for, of course, listening and being compassionate is important too. But when you go like, okay, now we're just an ego, and this isn't healthy for any of us, to just redirect. So that's my thought.
Thanks, Melita. Amanda.
Hi, let me put my hand down so I can, okay. Oh my gosh, so many things coming up that are relevant in my world right now, because yeah, the whole thing with the first law of chaos being that there are different truths for everyone. That's been so confusing to me in this time of division as well, because people are like, well, that's my truth, that's my truth. And it's like, okay, there's truth, but there's also some facts involved, but I don't know. I've been really confused by that, but but and then thinking about in small groups or in families and having compassionate listening. And Leslie, you said that it's okay to validate where people are coming from. So yeah, I mean, it's okay to validate somebody else's viewpoint, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're agreeing with them. And that's where I am trying to, I have a situation where, yeah, where I'm going to kind of be confronted to talk with somebody. And that's a good friend. And I know that her truth is different than mine. And that's a chaotic law, I guess. And I don't want to argue about it. And that's the thing. It's I don't even want to. I've gone through a month of rolling around about it in my head, how I'm going to say this, and I'm going to show how this truth is real over here. But then I'm I keep coming to no, that's not how it works, because then I'm just playing the same game, and I'm buying into that same law of chaos. So yeah, this has been really helpful. And then one of the things that kind of came up for me as everyone was sharing was back in chapter 2 in the separation and the atonement and all of that, in the fear and conflict section. It says that as long as you recognize only the need for the remedy to what's happening, you will remain fearful. However, as soon as you accept the remedy, you have abolished the fear. This is how true healing occurs. I don't know what that said to me, or what that says to me, is that, yeah, if you think something has to be fixed or changed, or, that somebody has sinned, or, you've sinned, or whatever it is, in their belief, in their thinking, then you remain fearful. And you, yeah, and then you want to argue it, and you want to, yeah. So I don't know, some things that people said were just really helpful in knowing that I have this ahead of me. And then also the other thing was that I am truly helpful prayer kind of came up as people were talking, because, how do we listen and know that we can take that, higher perspective, and when we're in a group and not just spew out, what our ego wants to spew out and say, but to just say that I'm only here to be truly helpful, let me represent him who sent me. And I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. So it's just the remembering and asking for the guidance in those moments, I guess. Yeah. All right. Those were all my chaotic thoughts in the chaotic laws.
Thank you, Amanda. And just at the end, when you said about remembering to ask, the other thing for me is then also being open to the response to the answer as well. So yeah, thank you. Tamisha, go ahead.
Hi, Penelope. Did my name come up like Tamisha? That's strange. It usually comes up as Tam. Oh my goodness. I got in late because I was just coming from Miracle Circle. And it's so funny that we were talking about this almost the same thing. And Amanda, I kind of wanted to relate to you because when you said that you have a friend that you sort of like dodging talking to, something happened this morning that I just caught myself in ego and in such a space of opinion and judgment. My sister, who is a Christian, posted something, that on her status, that I felt the need to correct her. And it was from a place of judgment. It was from a place of feeling that I was better than her, because I felt like her information about God was not as truthful as I believe mine is, right? So I responded, but then I just started feeling so guilty about it. And to even respond to it, to even allow the ego to get that hold of me and respond that way. So I do know, I felt like I wish that I didn't say anything, but maybe if I didn't, it would have been me not recognizing. I would not have sort of had that healing experience to see that I am actually, I have the thought maybe of better than others, because I feel like probably they don't pray as hard as I do. They don't pray this power prayer as I do. So it's just so much when you feel like you just want to share that information that you have about how this experience that you're going through is just so wonderful and things are working out for you, and you see that they're just stuck in kind of their belief, and you want to share that. It's hard because, I mean, goodness gracious, how do you do it without feeling, or maybe not feeling, but without it portraying as if you're better than them because you believe in this amazing micro God and you feel like they're not taking full advantage of it. Like, does anybody kind of relate, understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
I feel like
Tamisha, I relate so well. I know, I think we all do. Right? I mean, because the divisions and just yeah. I mean, and even just in regular life before all this past year, I mean, I think we all do that all the time. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was tough today. Yeah. And Jennifer put it in such a sweet way. But I just cannot really remember everything that she said right now. But oh yeah, just judging your family. And somebody said the last line to this movie, I actually wrote it down. You're like, the only way to win the game is to not play. And it's kind of like to step away yourself, step away from their kind of what they believe, you know, like like for me, example, I believe that I'm a miracle. I wake up every day and I say, okay, you know what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? I want to be a teacher, a healer, an inspiration. And that is who I wake up as. And I do that. I do the work towards that, right? And I feel like they're like my sisters. I'm talking about my sisters. Like they said they want to do so many things, but they're just sitting there, right? They're sitting waiting on this miracle to happen, to happen to them. And it just puts me in a place of saying, hey, you would want to get up and do the miracle. You have to believe that you're a miracle. But I feel like, you know, with Christianity, they're just so strong in their belief, like there's just kind of no other way. And I just feel like I would come across as being judgmental, and maybe I am at some level, but I don't know how to work my way around around it. When you do want to share, you know, you do want to share. Like that's what you do. Like I always say, I don't protect my peace. I give my peace. I share my peace with others. But yeah, I'm getting to the point where I need a little bit of more, I don't know, I need to talk about more how I feel in terms of, I think my spirituality is making me feel like I am better than others. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy. Yeah, I can relate to what you're sharing. For me, there's a few things that it's highlighted for me. It's also for me about not making somebody else wrong because of their opinions or what their choices are. And so, and another thing would be when you were just saying about, you know, your sisters talk about the things that they want to do, but they don't actually do anything. One of the things that I find helpful is to actually look in my life. If I was looking at others and thinking that is, I'd look at in my life, where am I saying that I want to do something but not actually do anything about it? So they're the kind of ways that I would look at it. I just see now Leslie and Kathleen with a hand up. Did anybody want to just to comment further on what Tammy's just shared? Yeah, go ahead, Leslie.
Thanks, Penelope. And thanks, Tanisha. You know, the one thing that just came to my mind is the best way to teach somebody or anybody anything is just to be the example. You know, if you can be the example and they start to see how much joy and love and happiness you have in your life, then they may ask you how you got there. And if they do, that's great. And if they don't, I love how Carla says, I don't mean to be harsh, but just, you know, whose business are you in? You know I would love to drag my sister along this Course in Miracles with me, but I know she would be kicking and screaming and she's not ready. And I firmly believe that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So that's a biggie for me. And Amanda, you know, if this is, I don't know how you said it's a friend that you have this confrontation with, but I so firmly believe that love is the answer. If it were me in that situation, and I don't know your situation, but if I was confronting a good friend of mine about something, we had totally opposite beliefs, I would probably, number one, want to meet in person, hug that person and just say, honey, let's just agree to disagree and then move on, you know? I don't know if that's helpful or not. Let's hear what Kathleen has to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm curious what Kathleen has to say too. Sometimes my hand just goes up like, eh. Well, let's see. I guess the willingness prayers came to my mind, like I'm willing to be the focal point for healing in my family, or I'm willing to be the focal point for healing in my mobile home group, or, you know, whatever group I'm with, and willing to be the focal point for healing for all the different people that I am inside myself, because we kind of become different people as we go through different stages of life. And Jennifer keeps reminding us to not overlook the power of our minds, so that if we want to talk to somebody about their right-wing beliefs, we can do it in our minds, and it actually works. Like you can do a 21-day experiment or whatever that thing's called, where you see the person as totally peaceful with their beliefs, whatever they are. Like my sister is like in tears because she feels like her vote didn't count in Michigan, and I just want to hold her in my arms. You know, I'll never talk her out of thinking that, but in my mind, I can just wish her peace. And I was just thinking about giving ourselves a lot of credit for all this learning that we're doing. Like every single thing in my life keeps repeating. And I was kind of giving myself crap about, you know, Kathleen, you're stuck in Groundhog Day. You know, I just thought that divisive thought yesterday or whatever. Then I read in other sources that these patterns will come back and it's fine. And that we're looking at them from a slightly higher point, or however you want to put it. So to give ourselves a lot of credit for all these lessons we're learning. And when the divine alarm clock goes off, when you know like, I got to delete what I just put on Facebook or something, you know, it's like, or delete what I just said, or change my mind. That's a miracle. You know, these miracles that we're all experiencing and all talking about go out and change the quantum universe. They're actually changing the quantum universe. And there's worlds, you know, spinning off of this one. So hopefully we'll end up in the one where it just all disappears and we go back to God. But I know I have to be okay with being here too. That's a tough one for me. It's like, why do I want to keep being here when I already know I don't need to be here anymore? And I think, oh yeah, I'm only here to be truly helpful. So that's my share.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Such wise words. Thank you. Did I see your hand raised, Carla? Yeah, Carla, go ahead.
The word that keeps coming to my mind, and I really have a hard time with this, anthropomorphism. I said it right. And that is attributing human characteristics to non-humans. But see, the problem is we see all these humans around here, but they're not. They're spirit having a human experience. And in the way of mastery, it talks about planting the seeds in your consciousness. And I'll just read this. Just as you, beloved child, are the harvest of the seed I once planted, God, when I first held the thought of you in my holy mind. And in that moment, you arose as the sunbeam from the sun, made in my image. And I held you as the thought of love and form. And I bestowed upon you all good things. Therefore, see yourself as I see you. Embrace yourself as I embrace you. Accept yourself as you are, a creator, creating without ceasing. And that's what we do. People think they're people, and then we join them. We see that too. We give them the human. You see only the human aspect and not the God self, right? And that's exactly what I would like to shift. Is that I've talked about this woman from Bavaria, and I feel her love. I know that she's a blessing to me, and I it's so powerful. Yet I saw her. We did this WhatsApp thing, and I just talk to her, but I saw her body, and it's so amazing how she's very German and rather buxom and big, large, in size, sizable, whatever, and more love there. That's what I see now, but my mind wasn't telling me that. It was telling me that, oh, she's this and she's that and she's this, and but she is here to help me learn to see people not as they appear with the eye, but as they appear with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
and so she is helping me own that more fully, because I have believed what I see and the meaning the mind gives it, right? Not the true meaning. So anthropomorphism, can't say it, but we're given human characteristics to what it looks like the humans, but only because they have already believed that about themselves, really. So it's my place, I think for myself, to look beyond the appearance, see the love that is there, because that's all we are. Embrace them as God embraces us. Accept them as God accepts us, not the story, not the appearance, the truth of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Carla. That's absolutely beautiful. One of the ways that I started reminding myself to ask much more is to ask the angels to remind me, to give me the nudge, because yeah, it's so easy, I find it so easy to fall into that pattern of just seeing them as another body and all the things that entails, and then it's so easy then to get into the judgment. So yeah, thank you, Carla, that was beautiful. And Grace, I see your hand up. Grace, did you want to say something? I just saw your hand raised.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, thanks for that, Penelope. I have to say, I do see people as people still, even though I want to see the Christ in everybody, and that's my willingness. But yes, I'm totally rooted in, what I see. And I'm not sure I even understood everything that Carla said, but some of it seemed to sort of hit my heart and make sense. And Carla, I wanted to ask you, what were you reading from? Because that was just so beautiful.
That was The Way of Mastery, page 119. I read the whole thing a couple times in the prayer room. It's so powerful. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it was very powerful and very beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so we're just about at time. Does anyone have any last minute shares before we close? Robin, go ahead.
Well, boy, this class is always so just wonderful, and I love being here with everybody. Thank you. And Tamisha, I guess your share brought up for me is how we are being pointed towards working in the invisible, and to keep that in front of us as we make all these decisions on what to say or do, and that in the reality, we're really working with this invisible way of being, and stop focusing maybe so much on the physical, and just as Carla said, look beyond that. So I just wanted to bring us, or me, to remember that we are being asked and called to work in the invisible. And for me, that is just coming back home over and over again, coming back to spirit, coming back to God, coming back to that energy that raises our vibration and helps lead and guide us, hopefully in every moment. So yeah, thanks for that, everybody's good stuff.
Thank you so much, Robin.
And thank you, Penelope.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. So for next week, we'll continue on, then we'll go right to the end of this section. So it'll take us right to paragraph 22. And so that gives us pretty much 3 pages. So we'll go to the end. And in True Likeness with Linda, I'm going to read, this is from the Pathways of Light. And so the lesson that I am on today is lesson 152, The Power of Decision is My Own. Jesus is encouraging me to accept the truth and let go of the ego lies of separation. The truth is, all that is real is one in God and has never changed from how God created it. All is one continuous whole in God. This one continuous whole is changeless and eternal. This is my true identity and everyone's true identity. This is the real universe as God created it. In today's lesson, Jesus is encouraging me to let go of what is not true, what is not real. What is not real, bodies in the world of time and constant change, is not what God created. Let me accept the truth today. Let me not try to change God's creation and make an individual self-image. Let me let go of that self-image and accept only the truth as true. Let me accept my one universal self in God as all that is real. This is salvation. My identity could never be anything other than as God created it. Let me accept the truth today. This lesson lays responsibility for the world I see squarely in my own hands. Recognition of this as true is essential to my release from it. As long as I believe anything in the world I see is not of my own making, I am a victim of the world, powerless to do anything about it. Acceptance of full responsibility for the world is key to my release from it. It means I have all the power I need to release the world I see and return to heaven, where I was created to be and still am in truth. The decision for what I want to believe is true is always mine. This is a point that is repeated many ways, again and again throughout the course. The ego puts up all kinds of smoke screens trying to hide this fact and make it seem as though what happens in the world I see is entirely out of my control. The ego's very existence depends upon my believing this. The recognition that the world and everything I seem to experience in it is of my own making brings instant release. No one consciously hangs on to pain, isolation, fear, and guilt. It is the quick forgetting referred to in an earlier lesson that makes these decisions seem to be unconscious and holds the illusory world in place. As I accept myself as God created me, I free myself from the world of limitation and death. Only I can make this decision, for it is only I who has made the decision to deny it. Today's lesson is simply a reinforcement of the lesson. Heaven is a decision I must make. Today, I will practice remembering that I remain as God created me. I love the first paragraph of this lesson, but it also scares me. I am perfectly willing to accept the idea that I am responsible for everything in my world, but somehow I am unwilling to accept that I have the power to change it. Can I really have the power of decision as my own? And if so, why do I not use it? What is wrong with me that I choose misery, guilt, and fear instead? In my meditation this morning, I asked Holy Spirit to show me specific places in my mind that I have chosen to believe the truth is not true. These were all familiar places to me. I knew they were there, and often I have pretended to myself that I wanted healing and even asked for healing. God doesn't hear my false words that I use to fool myself. He hears instead what is in my heart. And so I choose to believe I can keep these exceptions to the truth and pretend they are the real world I inhabit. I'm not going to waste any time trying to figure out why I choose pain over joy. I've asked Holy Spirit to gently remind me throughout the day when I'm making these choices. This day, I am not going to pretend circumstances are out of my control and there is nothing I can do about certain things in my life. I accept that God did not create me to be fearful. And so if I'm feeling fearful, I'm trying to make my own truth to replace God's truth. How crazy is that? I'm not going to try to reason with the ego or allow anything to cloud the issue. That is how I've kept these self-deceptions in place for so long. If it is fear, God did not make it, and it is not true. So really apt for today, again, as always, Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining. And it's been a pleasure to lead the group this week. So thank you so much.
Thank you for leading, Penelope. Thank you for your shares, everyone. That was wonderful.
Yeah, great shares
you
and
so
great
much,
questions
Penelope.
as well. Thank you. Love you all.
Love
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Penelope.
you so
Bye.
much.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.